Hey guys, Luna here, and we are back with Pesterquest. We just finished in the last episode with Dave's ending. Now we're going to go to the happiest girl in the world with befriending Jade, which I'm going to go into the trigger warnings for this. As always, that contains adult language, violence, and innuendos. But the specific thing for Jade's volume is that there is abandonment, neglectful parenting, abusive guardian, animal abuse, and animal attacks. So please be prepared when going into this. Now, let's start, shall we? To the loneliest girl in the world. It's kind of interesting that there's these images as well. It's been days and your stomach still hasn't recovered from Olive Garden, but you still can't spend forever moping around. There are friends to make, damn it! Well, just one left in this set. Her name is Jade Harley, and though all three of your new pals consider themselves to be good friends with her, they know strikingly little about her life. The most you've gleaned is that she lives in the mysterious island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, with her grandfather and some uncommon breed of dog. The communications with her has been limited to internet messages and packages sent her to a P.O. box in some podunk town called a Hatchet Switch. That is kind of interesting. John said he would message her and see if she could provide an address, but you don't want to wait. Throwing yourself headlong into friendship has always worked for you. So you close your eyes, think idly thoughts, and hope it works. But something strange happens as you channel your powers. Loud bark echoes somewhere in the distance, and a nuclear green energy sparks in the air around you. You catch a split-second glimpse of a massive green sun, then you hit the ground on your hands and knees. The whole event can't have taken more than a second or two. Blink and focus your vision. You're inside a room. The floor is smooth and white, and disruptingly the monotony in front of you is a set of similarly white paws attached to a musket. An animal. You slowly stagger up and look him over. He is a very large and fluffy dog. When you give him all of the pets, his snout held up high, a long green tongue hangs from his open mouth as he pants slightly, and the air around him cackles with electricity, making the fur on his back stand on ends. Something about him feels so familiar to you, familiar twice over. His fuzzy and regal form reminds you of a warmth you once knew, but those neon sparks fill your stomach with dread. At the very least, he seems friendly. He leans in and drags his rough tongue along your cheek, leaving it tingling. His tail wags swiftly and back and forth and keeps nosing at you. He seems adorable. Back down, boy. It is a friendly demeanor of his that leaves you shocked when he moves aside, and you find I don't remember her looking like this, but that leaves you shocked when he moves aside, and you find yourself staring down at the barrel of a rifle, set aloft by a bespectacled young lady in a sensible skirt who really has no business pointing such a big fucking gun at you. Hey, please don't panic and don't make any sudden moves. I've never saw a living being before, and it would make me very, very sad if I had to start now. Okay, this is happening right now. Is this Jade? She doesn't look like a Jade, based on what John told you. She looks more like a Gigi anyways, or maybe a Lynn. Right, the gun, don't get sidetracked. You slowly raise your hands in surrender and try to put on your most inoffensive expression. You tell her that if she starts shooting living beings, it would be pretty sad too, so why doesn't she put down the gun and... No way! I don't want to shoot you, but you are clearly a dangerous and unpredictable being. I need to make sure I stay safe. My grandpa taught me a lot about gun safety and trigger discipline in case anything bad ever happened to me. So I know that good trigger discipline means keeping your finger on the trigger at all times in case you need to blow something to bits. Oh fuck. Well, let's make things clear to you. I'm a very clever girl, and you won't be able to fool me as easily as you fooled the others. It's very obvious to me what you've been doing, and I know you would eventually show up if I waited long enough. Sure enough, John messaged me not too long ago to let me know you wanted to visit, so I prepared myself for your arrival. You've come to interfere with our lives, and now I want to know why. So you better start talking, okay? I'm not imagining that's her voice, but like, close as I got. Okay, say, why does she want to talk about? You're well versed on a variety of electric subjects, so you can go on about basically anything. Wrestling, postmodern art, controversial opinions on traditional jurisprudence. But you get the feeling that this is an interrogation, and you really have no idea what she's interrogating you over. It's a very likely story. I can put two and two together pretty easily, you know. You never shown up in any of my dreams before, and now none of those dreams are coming to pass. Not to mention, I don't even see Prosper when I go to sleep anymore. And that can only mean that you've derailed the forces of fate. You destroyed John's copy of Suburb, and somehow that changed everything. Not only could John not begin the game, none of us could. None of the mirrors hit like they were supposed to. It's like the universe changed its very fabric to bend to your evil whims. Whoa, evil? That's a little harsh. You'll cope to stupid, but evil is a little too much. Don't play dumb with me. What else could motivate you to stop us from fulfilling our destinies as heroes? Heroes? John and friends are very nice, but they don't strike you as heroes. That's because you don't know them like I know them. You haven't seen the shrines on Prosper or heard stories from the Queen or seen them in the clouds growing into brave, wonderful people. And now I'm beginning to suspect that those things would never come to pass. John's birthday came and passed without any fanfare, except for him supposedly befriending a strange mailman. And that's the day the internet was full of people complaining that their beta copies of Suburb weren't working, and there was a huge scandal with the company. A little while later, I found out this mailman was talking with the Rose and had magical powers. I know a thing or two about magical powers, or at least powers which seem to be magical to those who haven't studied their logical sources. Powers are totally different from everything I've seen. At first I thought you must be an advanced Durst agent come to sabotage us, but you definitely aren't from Durst. Maybe you're a Prosper and Dell agent? Also consider that the weird trolls who keep pestering me, but they've been weirdly quiet lately, and you don't really give me that vibe. Obviously, you're not human. Oh, hang on. You're human, right? She tilts her head and gives you a little, really? kind of look, and your stomach twists into knots. The more I look at you, the more I start to think you're like... how do I explain this? Okay, do you know what a furry is? Okay, wow, yeah, okay, this is more loaded than her gun, yes? Alright, so a lot of artists I follow do yucca commissions. And your character commissions, and you remind me of one of those. Does that make any sense? You have no idea what a yucca is, and you cautiously ask her. It stands for your character here. Basically, an artist will draw a pose or scenario, but instead of putting in an actual character, they will leave a blank outline, like a mannequin. You pay them to put your own character there. And when I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at one of those blank spaces. My intuition doesn't tell me anything about you. You've never showed up in my dreams. You're like my best friend Beck over here. A complete wild card, something I can't figure out. Which brings me back to my point. She had almost let her gun drop. You almost had forgotten she was holding it, but she hefts it back up to a point where she steals her gaze. You're going to tell me why you came here and did what you did, and then you're going to help fix it. The rifle is really starting to bother you. Save. Yes. Get that gun away from her. You can't let a good opportunity slip between your fingers again. You need to disarm her before she accidentally blows you to smithereens. There must be something else that will get her guard down. We ask about her grandfather, the one who taught her about guns. He must surely be a reasonable, mature man. Perhaps it might be best to bring him into the discussion? You could sit down, have tea, drop the gun. I don't know. Grandpa does love his tea time with guests, but usually conversations with him are usually really one-sided. Oh, is he that stubborn? Well, yes, he's pretty obstinate man and total blowhard, but as well, you may find him difficult to talk to on account of the fact that he's also a stuffed corpse. Oh yeah, okay, that's cool, that checks out, this is fine, everything's fine. You love guest starring in a goddamn Hitchcock movie. This girl is clearly too unstable to be reasoned with. You need to disarm her, and pronto. You steer the topic away from the grandfather, and she's surely murdered, and wait for another lull in the conversation. When her eyes start to wander in grip seconds, you spring forward and reach for the rifle. She shrieks and goes for the trigger, but before she can fire, an ear-splitting bark rings in your ears and the world explodes into neon green. You feel weightless and empty, cocooned in bitter cold. For half a second, you think you just got a Vadakadabra, but then you glance around and see the stars. Iridescent light shows twinkling all around you, painting the vast expanse with beaded glimmers. It is transcendent. It is beautiful. You're at peace. Or maybe that's just the asphyxiation talking. Space junk. Stay calm and explain yourself. Alright, pretty much everyone except John has called you on their bullshit thus far, so maybe you might as well give her on the full confession. You absolutely did change the course of reality, but it was a result of a genuine fuck-up, not ill intent. Kind of a long story, but you relate it to as best as you can. Your strange lack of memory, encounter with a bizarre magical artifact, the way you blundered into John's life and destroyed his mail as a result of your highly relatable social anxiety. The girl listens intently as you explain what brought you here, and then offers you an apology. You think that you have irreversibly altered the very fabric of the threads her cosmos together. There's probably no way of putting things back like they were earlier, and letting this lady go on her golden dream quest, or whatever she was blotting about while you were distracted by her very deadly gun. They sound very sincere. I like to believe you, so I'll take you at your word for now. Whether shenanigans you involved yourself in, I trust that you did not intend to cause any problems. Let's all put this very ugly business behind us. She's very floofy here. The girl holsters her rifle and you breathe a long sigh of relief. Sorry about all that. I promise I only had the best intentions. Let's coldly tell her. You get the distinct feeling you've dealt with much worse. Yeah, I imagine a space hopper like you has been all sorts of cool and dangerous places. Kinda jealous, really. Well, anyways, we never properly introduced ourselves. My name's Jade. My dog's name is Bakul. What's yours? Huh? You know what? You think this is the first time you ever been asked for your name? Ever? I almost forgot you had one. You tell Jade your name. Huh? That's a very unique sounding name. I like it. Yeah, I tell her my name is Luna. Tell Jade that you like her name too, and she beams at you. Thank you. I'm so glad my grandpa gave me this name. It's so pretty and fairly unique, and it's just very likable. Anyways, why don't I show you around? I can give you a tour of the house, and we can get to know each other a little better. Oh, that sounds great. You're an expert in taking tours of other people's houses, which makes sense since you don't actually have your own house. Jade stares sadly at you. Very sorry to hear that. No, it's cool. You have magic now, so the trade-off is probably pretty fair. Right, well, this is of course my room. As you can see, I have a ton of pretty posters. This one's my favorite. It's a gift from Dave, and I love it to pieces, even though it's honestly pretty dumb looking. But that's the point. So there's this one. This one's Dave's probably. What is that? Deltarune? Like a furry Deltarune or something? Another Dave poster. She just is to the post of the webcomic guys with the animal attributes scribbled onto them. Yeah, that's what I assumed. Most of the other posters also have feature anthropomorphic fauna, drawn with significantly more finesse. It all gives you a very furry vibe. But not in the bad way, you clarify. Lips twitch in irritation, and it occurs to you that people are probably constantly either clowning on her for liking furry stuff, or reassuring her that they aren't about to clown on her for liking furry stuff. I am glad that this entire thing is mentioning it, because, like, the stereotype of people who like furries is like fursuits and doing like all that kind of thing, but there could be people who just like that kind of stuff. Well, I don't actually dress up in suits or any of that nonsense, but I really love animals, and I think it's fun to imagine what it'd be like to be exactly. That it exactly is the point. Like, I know for people who are furries who are just like this. They don't want fursuits or anything, but they just like animal stuff. Because animals are much more interesting than humans. Which is why I own so many animal toys. Like the Manthro chaps, who are very silly but dignified fellows who are part animal and part Victorian era, gently served. Jade jesters to a pile in the corner, heaped high with plushies, dolls, and all sorts. Many of them look like man-animal abominations with curly mustaches, and other features bright and puffy squid-like features. Oh, those are my squiddles. They're based off a cartoon show. Mo says it's a bad show, but I don't believe her. Jade fishes through the toy pile and retrieves a dark, bluish black toy. I love her outfit. It's adorable. This one's Inkabelle. She's my favorite. In one episode, she gets lost in a murky brain swallow and spends years completely alone, lost without any of her friends. But in the end, her friend's podlight tracks her down and saves her. It seemed so bleak at the first time I watched it that I literally cried, but I realized in the end that it was a very poignant tale. Jade smiles wishfully down at the plushie in her hands. She glances from it to another one of the scribble dolls, and expression tightens. She squeezes the doll just a little too hard, causing a horrendous peachy squeak. Guess in retrospect, that was pretty silly though. I mean, it is just a kid's show. Of course there's always going to be a happy ending. That's how it always works, right? Jade's still smiling as she tosses the doll onto her bed, but she puts so much force into the throw that it goes careening off the edge into a wheeze. You hear it plop on the floor and magnetize itself to another scribble. Toy Sparks lets out a squeaky, weak little yay! Jade stands up and brushes off her skirt. Her eyes fall to her bedspread, which features a striking cloud design. She sighs slowly, then seems a bright smile once more. Anyways, let's go explore the rest of the house, shall we? I've got so much to show you. Jade hikes up her skirt and skitters down the spiral staircase. 2 steps at a time. You're a little interested in the high-tech devices lying around the workbench near her bed. That one, it looks like another teleportation pod. Glowing green crystal that you think is literally uranium, but Jade's already gone, so you tear your eyes away and follow. The landing below her room is small and cylindrical and features only a gray closet-looking device and a platform on the floor. My room is at the top of the tower, but this transportalizer will take us to the garden quick and easy. She hops on it and disappears in a flash of green light. You're a little nonplussed, but you're seeing weirder. You step onto the platform and hear a light click beneath your feet, and in an instant, you're standing in a lush garden atrium. There are exotic plants as far as the eye can see, ranging from psychedelic floral arrangements to tropical fronds to fruits and vegetables. Tall window blankets and walls and allow sunlight to stream in, and said windows are coated in a steamy mist. You feel like you just got clotheslined by a rainforest. It's beautiful, right? Jade opens her arms and spins around, gesturing to her various garden stations. None, it really is. Gardening is another one of my favorite hobbies. It's a great work to get your hands dirty and do some real work. And the end result is really vibrant and beautiful. Jade waves her rough and calloused hands to you and then strokes her fingers around the pinkish pellet of an anemone and hums a little tune toward it. One of its leaves seems to curl around her touch. When Jade pulls away, she skips toward one of the windows and motions you to follow her. It's a beautiful island vista that awaits your gaze. To your left is a towering mountain that might just be a volcano. You head to it, and ahead is a small bay filled with giant lily pads and an old mossy temple. Beyond the island, the sea stretches out to the shimmering horizon. Past that boundary line, his entire world awaits, ever out of reach. The This is my home. This entire island belongs to just me back and my grandpa. This is a very beautiful place. The greenery is so lovely and the bay is very fun to take a dip in. There's some mysterious ruins down there too, but I've always been very curious about them, but Beck won't let me visit them. I guess he thinks they're too dangerous. Grandpa's been in there plenty of times before, though. Could her grandfather give her a supervised tour? Oh, Grandpa doesn't really move much anymore. He spends all of his time having tea parties in the foyer. He's quite old then. You could say that. Jade wanders away from that window toward another one, whose view is exclusively centered on the rolling blue. She presses her hand against the misty pane and sighs. No, Dave talks a lot about coming to visit me here. I mean, all my friends do, but Dave especially. In his usual Davey ways, of course, which means making lots of jokes and not sounding very serious about it. Yeah, I'm itching to put my safari hat and come transparent down to Doom's death and Pelago to get my ass murdered by Infidog the Eldritch Retriever. Stuff like that. I know he really means it, though. He wants to see me, just like I want to see him. But it's just wishful thinking. He doesn't know where this island is. Even I don't know where it is. All deliveries here go through some company P.O. box my grandpa set up before he died, and it's not marked on any maps. This is a special island with all kind of important secrets on, I guess? Or, it was special. I was special. But not anymore. Now I'm just a regular girl stuck alone on this dumb island for the rest of my stupid life. Well, you asked Jade if she's feeling alright. Yes, I'm totally fine. Just peachy. Thanks for asking. Come on, let's keep up with the tour. There's no time for a diddly-dally. My grandpa's collection rooms are up next. The first one's full of his big game hunting trophies. Never shoot an innocent animal, and I think the trophies are pretty hideous. But I have to admire his great work stuffing them, I guess. It is really hard to properly stuff and mount something, trust me. And he has some cooler stuff on the lower floors, like all these badass knight statues, or these, faded blue portraits of pretty ladies. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, most of the grandpa's collection stinks. But I think what's important is that it all represents to him. He's been on all sorts of incredible and amazing ventures, and he's been this huge array of interesting things to show for it. Tell Jade that her grandfather sounds like a hell of a guy. He sure is. Back when I was little, he used to go on trips all over the world, and comes back with so many interesting stories and new souvenirs. I was so odd. I guess I was a little jealous, too. Sometimes he would be gone for days or even weeks at a time, and it would just be me and Beck holding down the fort. I'd always be so happy when he came back, and I'd listen to his tales without making a single peep. But he never asked me if I wanted to come along for an adventure, no matter how obvious it was that I did. But I guess that's the way of life for adventuring folk. There's no time to be tied down, even by people you love. They can stay at home and wait for you to come back. That's how it is for my grandpa. At least, what about you? You're an adventurer too. You visit all my friends, and you've surely been to other awesome spots around the globe. So I bet you've left someone waiting for you too, haven't you? Frost floods your veins and nestles into your heart with a burning chill, for reasons that you don't quite understand. Jade tilts her head and bores into your wide, curious eyes. One of her hands is balled up into a fist, and both of them are trembling as she watches you. Jeez, you haven't had to coach another kid through parental issues, have you? Swallow down your sudden anxiety, force a smile, and remind Jade that you're suffering amnesia. Oh, right. Well, it's this feeling that I get, you know? I have great intuition. When she smiles, the corner of her mouth twitches. It's now or never. Would you like to talk? I said I'm fine. There's nothing to talk about. Unless you want to talk about, some of these flowers. Isn't this one such a lovely yellow? Surely there's nothing wrong with a good old feelings jam, right? Jade's an expressive, empathetic girl. Feelings jam should be her thing. You think that, but she's still steadfastly ignoring you. Hey, how about this one with an orange goofy face on it? Why don't we boggle at it for a while? Jade, something's wrong. We need to talk this out. That's what you gotta do. You're a talker, so why don't you two... Oh my god, would you just please just shut up. Please just shut up your stupid fucking mouth. Of course there's something wrong, and that is something is you. There's a long pause. Jade just stands there, her eyes wide, shocked at her own outburst. She wipes a tear from her cheek, takes a shaky gulp, and then sprints back up the stairs. Didn't work. You stand there laughing like a tender AA grade ass. A jackass streak with a baked douchebag potatoes on the side. And then you sigh and seal yourself. You make the trek back up to your room. Jade is nowhere to be seen, but Beck is pawing clumsily at a large, suspiciously jade-shaped lump beneath the covers of her bed. You clear your throat and ask her softly if she wants to talk. It's cool, you say. You listen to teen drama all the time. And this is particularly choice drama. Not that you like the drama, you clarify. It's just that this kind of exists in the periphery of a constantly. You're kind of a drama magnet. There's a long pause, and you're about to turn and leave when she pulls off the covers and turns to you. Her eyes are all puffy and red. Hey. Sorry I yelled at you. It's not really your fault. I mean, kinda is, but you didn't know you were messing anything up. It's not fair for me to be pissed at you. It's just, none of this is fair at all. Yeah, that sounds like life, alright? You sit down on the bed and tell her to vent about it. It's okay, you can take it. Okay. Have you spent your whole life waiting for something to happen and then it didn't? Well, your memory is pretty fuzzy right now, so you can't say you have, but you think you understand a similar sense of yearning. Good God, have you yearned? Yearning is a good word for it, yeah. Let me try and explain. When I went to sleep, I would see this beautiful golden kingdom called Prospect and hang out with the people out there. I'd wake up with these fuzzy half-remembered feelings of happiness and visions of the future swirling around in my head. It was nice. It was a good life. But there was this lonely feeling that I couldn't make go away no matter what I did. I'd always tell myself, soon, Jane, soon it'll change. You'll get to travel to Prospect in your waking hours, and you'll meet your friends in person. You'll finally begin to live, like really live. I waited for days, months, years for the day to finally arrive, and then it never came. I was so sure it would come on John's birthday. All of my dreams told me so. All the signs were there, but it just didn't happen. And now I don't know what to do with myself. I was able to ignore the lonely feeling because I knew that it would disappear one day, but now that day has slipped me by, and it's like all of those years are catching up and crashing down on me at once, and I feel so small and helpless and sad, like the loneliest girl in the world. I don't want to put this on you, it just wouldn't be very nice, but it's not fair. Jade vaults from the bed and stamps her foot on the ground hard. Her face is flushed and streaked with tears and snot. She looks awful, frankly, like someone who's been holding it all in for far too long. Beck gets a hold and starts licking her cheeks. She holds him until she can wipe her face with her sleeve. Thanks, Beck. At least I got you for a best friend, am I right? Oh, it's adorable. Jade settles back into bed, stroking Beck's fur softly. I have a lot of complicated feelings about all this, I guess. So complicated and painful that I'd rather just pretend everything's okay. But now I can't pretend anymore. These feelings are all that's left. I hate feeling so glum. I hate sitting around and being so all sad and useless. It's so stupid and pointless and a waste of my fucking energy. It's not who I am, and now I'm just dumping it all on you. Sorry, I really am. Man, you're just completely fucked up this girl's life, and she's apologizing to you? Now you feel like the delicious three-layer shithead Tismari served after the nice meal of steak and potatoes you had earlier. You really want to help Jade. And while you still don't quite get all of this magical mood stuff she's been talking about, you do get how it feels to be lonely, something you can help with. You offer her your hand. Wanna go see the world? She sniffles and likely shakes her head. It's not going to work. Well, there's no way to know unless you give it a try, right? She nods, stands up, takes her hand. Focus on a familiar destination, John's house. But as you begin to dematerialize, Bex turns to stare at you and you hear that familiar barking sound in your ears. And then a flash of light subsides. Standing there here in Jade's room, a few feet from where you started. What? See, I told you it wouldn't work. Come on, let me show you something. Jade hops and shuffles down the staircase, and you follow. She takes you to the teleportation pad in the atrium. These transporters are all powered by thermal energy, and each use each other's as beacons for the sake of easy short-range teleportation. But if you hook one up to a uranium converter and modify the coordinates specified on a logic board, you can theoretically go anywhere in the world. Which I tried, see? She twists and taps on the top of the pad with her fingertips and pulls it off. It shows you the wiring underneath. It looks messy, like someone has multiple attempts to rewire the circuits. When I used it, it only led me to the exact same place. Same that happened just now. Becky uses powers to prevent me from leaving this island. Maybe I got the coordinates wrong and I would have ended up stuck underground or something. But I checked and double-checked my measurements. I think Beck just doesn't want me to leave the island. He wants me to stay somewhere where he can keep me safe at all times. Perhaps he heard his name from above, or perhaps he just has a sixth sense about it. Beck wanders downstairs and over to Jade. She gives him a soft stroke behind his ears. I love him very much, but as long as he's around, I'm stuck here. Because of the changes you made, that's how it'll always be. I'm just going to have to get used to it, I guess. Jade deflates against one of her gardening tables and offers you a wan smile. For a split second, you could swear you see droopy doggy ears and a tail tucked between her legs. Depression to this degree is not conducive to friendship, and even if it was, you'd still feel pretty shitty about it. You should do something to cheer up. Challenge Beck for superiority! It seems that the cause of Jade's problems, even though he's probably not hurting her on purpose, is Becquerel. He's a good dog and he wants to protect her. But in the time that has passed, Jade has a new optimated friend in her life. She's got places to be besides this island. There's only one thing for you to do. You need to establish yourself as the new alpha of the pack. You must win the right to escort Jade to visit her friends. This is how dogs work, right? Yeah, it is. Definitely is, you think? You square up, bend your knees, and tense your palms. What are you doing? Don't worry about it, you tell Jade. You're practically an expert in Luska's wrangling techniques by now. What technique? She starts behind you? But you're already charging. Beck doesn't see you coming at all. Perhaps because it's such a spectacularly stupid thing to do, you go tumbling to the ground with him and manage to pin him. You know exactly what to do now. There has only been one possible course of action, and that has been insinuated with such mnemonic gravity that you are entirely certain it will work as intended. Punch Beck in the snout to establish superiority. Punch Beck in the snout to establish superiority. Immediately realize it's not working as intended. He snarls and flares up neon green energy, crackling around him. You wince as the heat watches over you, as if you just opened an oven door, and your arm hairs stand stiff in electric terror. What were you thinking? This is a fight you can't win. Beck lunges at you and sinks fangs into you. You yelp, pain splitting into your sight, radioactive fire roaring in your arm. You yank yourself away and instinctively try and teleport, but as you disappear, Beck's teeth catches your shoulder and held on tight. The two of you go hurtling through nothingness, and you're pretty sure you left blood spatters on some meta-narrative construct, like a website scroll ball or the Ren page debug screen or some shit. Eventually, you come exploring back into canon and bounce off into the purple spire with the ungrainly smack, dislodging Beck in the process. Stumble into a bridge and scatter some dudes in goofy gesture efforts, and Beck lands in front of you. Good boy? Can we call it even here? He snarls and green flames crack the stones beneath his feet. So much for that. You throw up your arms in front of your face and squeeze your eyes shut as Beck lunges again. You don't feel like the stinging of his fangs against your flesh. Instead, you feel the singularly odd sensation of your body passing through Beck's, as though you have just have a window thrown at you. Like a reverse differentiation? Weird words I don't know the pronunciation of. Some type of triation word. World beyond your eyelids strobes green, and you open your eyes and find yourself staring into a massive variant sun. You think that's when Beck went in for the kill. He must have phased through him, and as his powers surge, it was pure dumb luck. You can't imagine what kind of precise timing would be to pull that timing off on purpose. The good news is that you're alive, but the blood loss is really doing a number on you, and you can't focus your powers. Vision flickers on the edges, and there's a ringing in your ears, louder than the flickering flames of the sun. You only just barely hear a voice from behind you as your eyes glaze over. Who is this douchebag? Zolix, be nice. This douchebag looks very injured. I think they're going to have to restart and try again. Good luck next time. Hey, it's those two. So, explore. You present that your most finely honed smile of confidence and urge Jade to stand. This is no time to mope around. There's plenty of fun to be found without leaving silence. You suggest that perhaps this time with your help, you can give her the opportunity to explore that temple she's always been curious about. Really? That would be super fun. But what about Beck? Oh, there's nothing to worry about there. You have a genius plan, you tell her. You tell her just to head over onto the temple and you take care of the rest. Okay, if you say so. Please don't do anything to hurt Beck, okay? I love him to bits. Wouldn't dream of it. Not on this route, at least. Jade transmoralizes downward and you turn your attention to Beck. He is idly sniffing one of Jade's plants. You learn something slowly and with intent. You know what must be done. Okay, right in there. You pet the hell out of this dog. You employ all of your strongest pamper techs like the quick squish and the main massage and the rare Codaline X dog schmidt. Somewhere in the distance, a bluebird observes your masterful display and chirps happily. But suddenly, Beck's head snaps up and points his snout in the direction of the temple. Whoa, there, buddy. Now's no time to be thinking about Jade. Now it's Billy Scritcher's time. You start rubbing Beck's stomach and flops into his back with his tail wagging and getting his feet curled up. Who's a good boy? Who's the best boy? Beck looks at you and you see the cosmos reflected in his deep, piercing eyes. You understand? He's a good boy and he knows it. After a while longer spent threading your fingers through his silky fur, Beck curls up beside you and yawns, starting to nod off. You kiss him on the forehead and then take the opportunity to slowly stand up and exit the room, letting the sleeping dog lie. You're a little worried about learning Beck by using your powers. He seems to be pretty keyed into that, kind of a space-time manipulation, so you just take the long route to the temple. Jade Island is a very beautiful place, with rolling hills and lush sun-bathed plains. It looks like an excellent vacation destination, but it's also so bare. There's nothing and nobody around except for the hollow whispers of the wind. You can see how this place would feel much less like paradise after years spent stranded here. When you reach the lake surrounding the temple, you see that the giant lily pads outside have arranged themselves into a walkway that you can use to reach it. How strange and convenient! You channel your inner frog and hop across. Hey, up here! Jade calls down to you and she's at the temple entrance far above your head, waving down at you. Roofs carved into the wall and form a ladder that you can use to climb up, and soon you're standing beside her at the entrance of the temple. Huge imposing archway marks the ingress between the sunny island and the dark interior of the ruin. From within, you can see a faint yellow-green hue that seems to come from the ruins carved in the walls. Spooky. As you proceed through the entryway, Jade runs a hand alongside the glowing walls. Her face is bathed in a sickly green. At the end of the hallway is a large round platform decorated with a cloudy design and a glowing orb at the center. It kind of sounds similar to this, but I could be going crazy. Or is it the flower design that's similar to the game? It doesn't pique your inner interior decor, but James seems quite awed by the sight. This is Secra. I knew this temple had to be connected to that world in some way. Jade rushes onto the platform and begins to descend. You quickly follow her before you're left behind as the elevator takes you down to an expansive and dark room below. Much like the rest of the temple, the space seems very sparse, and it's illuminated by the faint glow of the runes on the wall. A large purple lotus flower rests atop a pedestal in front of the elevator, petals wilted. There is an electronic display built into the pedestal with a timer that could feasibly count down for millions of years, but that's pretty funny because originally it was millions of years. But it seems to be glitched, stuck at a few hours away from 0. Are you sure it's not minutes and seconds? It's stuck for a few hours away from 0 with the seconds digit constantly retracting back and forth between two numbers. Jade places a hand on the pedestal and sighs. This number is stuck. I think this is a time capsule, but it's malfunctioning for some reason. Was I supposed to open it when the time is right? No, I'll never know. That's what could this place be hiding from me? As if on cue, the elevator platform shudders and begins to rise behind you. As the platform ascends, it becomes clear that there's a pit beneath it, which is basically video game logic 101. Jade looks down into it, and you follow suit and see transport gliders? There's 2 of them, one a deep purple and the other a brilliant gold. Jade leaps down into the pit, which is a pretty brave maneuver because it's deep as hell and real life still has fall damage. She grunts and sinks to her knees from the impact, but quickly recovers and rushes over to the golden transporter. She examines it for a moment, then clambers on. With a soft click, there's a pressure plate. It depresses and the device surges to life. She disappears in a brilliant flash of light. Well, shit, you better follow her. You hop down and step into the transportalizer, and the same flash of light consumes your body. You hear something like wind whipping around you, and molecules are dematerialized and then reassembled in a new locale. A glimmering golden palace. Wow, this place is too fucking bright. Someone needs to crack the saturation down pronto. Believe it. Jade is looking around with wide eyes that reflect your golden surroundings. This is it. This is Prospect. The planet I visited in my dreams. I didn't think it was possible to get here like this. What does this mean? Why am I allowed to be here right now? I should go talk to the Queen. With that, she's off, sprinting down the halls with a renewed sense of vigor. You scramble to keep up with her, threading your way through clouds of confused white-shelled folks in fancy outfits. The kind that remind you of yourself, but with chinters bodies. You sidestep a lady carrying a paint can and shuffle down a lengthy golden staircase adorned with regal golden spikes. You can only barely keep your eyes on Jade's long black hair as it swooshes behind her. When you finally catch up, she's in the middle of an argument with 2 burly fellows in white suits. She stamps her foot at them, but they are undeterred, blocking her passage further. Eventually, Jade reels around to look at you. She tries to soften her expression at your sake, but her face is still sour. Ugh, the guards won't let me see the Queen. Apparently she's really busy with something. I told them I'm not supposed to be here and that I have to leave right away. This is totally bull. I'm a princess. I'm sorry these idiots can't even recognize me without the pretty golden dress. Well, I guess I'm not getting any answers here either. Let's just get out of here. She's off again, this time striding forward with her fist curled and her jaw set. You glance back at the guards, whose forward brass strike you more as worry than ire, then follow Jade's back. You're almost to the exit when you see it. A dark figure cigarette against Strika's brilliant blue. They're humanoid in shape, with 2 leathery wings, outstretched and inkly black tendrils behind them. Jack Noir! Crimson forces crackles in their wake, and they swoop over the city like a bird of prey. Or is this, what's his face? The, not troll, Cerberus thing? Whatever? Something about them gives you a major case of heebie-jeebies. You do a nervous little half-jog back to the transport lighter and get the hell out of Dodge. The temple feels oppressively dark compared to the blinding bright of Prospect, and you spend a while blinking as your eyes readjust. The tranquilizer you just used flares up red and then cracks. That's probably not a good sign, is it? You do what you do best, ignore it, and climb out of the pit. Jade is standing beside the lotus contraption, running her hand along one of the plates as her face says, "What does this all mean? Was this here all along? Has my grandpa been here to prosper before? If I can go there, then it must still exist. The game must still exist, but how? None of it makes any sense. I need to think about this." You follow Jade slowly back to her house as she mumbles to herself, brows furrowed. You can barely catch what she's saying, but she's clearly thinking hard. Clouds have never been wrong before. Is it too early? Was this meant to happen? Once you reach the atrium, Jade lets out a sharp breath and nods her head. Resolute, she turns to you. Right, I think I understand. I know what's going on now. Great! You offer her your most winning smile. What's the stitch? Well, the truth is, I was always being very immature about the idea of being a hero, having a destiny. Life isn't like it is in kids' cartoons, after all. Heroism isn't all rainbows and sunshine, and it's childish to think that everyone gets a happy ending. That kind of storybook stuff doesn't really exist. To be a real hero, you have to be prepared to suffer horribly. It makes sense when you think about it. If everything came easily, there wouldn't actually be anything heroic about it. Why else would my grandpa have put me here on this island? Why else would Beck want me to keep me safe here when, even now that everything's changed? It's because of my destiny. I have to prove that I'm willing to suffer and willing to sacrifice. That has to be it. This can't all have been for nothing, right? That's not the way the world works. Everything has a purpose, even if it's not clear at first. Seeing prospered in the flesh reminded me of that. My purpose is to do what I've always done, what my grandpa Peck helps prepare me for. I know I'll really be lonely, but in the end it means that everything will continue to play out the way it's meant to. It's a very noble job, and I've got to be the one to do it. I'm lost for words. This doesn't feel like the right takeaway from all of this, but you don't know a jack about suburb or destiny or any of that nonsense, so who are you to say otherwise? Thank you for helping me visit Prosperous. I wouldn't have figured it all out if not for you. I'm sure meeting me is one step along the way towards your mysterious fate as well. I'll be rooting for you. Jade erupts into a broad, beaming smile. It might be the first completely genuine smile that you've seen from her this entire time, but that doesn't make you feel any better about it. In fact, it's more of a nice twisting in your gut, and when she throws her arms around you and hugs you tight, the knife pushes deeper into your bone. Well, you've probably more important stuff to do than hanging out with me. I'll let you get back to it. Jade turns around and heads for the staircase, leaving you to stare at her retreating form. Is this it? Will you accept the new destiny you've written for Jade, and allow her to stay trapped here on this island? I'm going to not accept. Some people might make this lesson in responsible use of reality-altering powers. Some people might swear off manipulating canon entirely, but not you. What's the point of having sick-ass powers if you never use them? Maybe some god is gonna punish you for the way you've been fucking with the universe, but right now, you don't care. This girl would have burned herself out to ashes to keep her friends warm. The least you can do is risk the flames for her sake. That is very true. You lead spin up the stairs. Oh, you're not leaving. Any other places to be? I'll be fine here alone, I promise. It's my duty. I'll get used to it eventually. Can't imagine she's okay with that, no matter what she says. Does she really want to stay alone for the rest of her life? Well, of course not. What I want to do is explore the world and hang out with all my pals. But it's not about what I want. It's about doing what has to be done. This is what has always been done about me. Well, that's bullshit. Huh? Maybe Jade's fate dictates she never plays the game she wanted to play. Maybe heroes don't get a happy ending. But that doesn't mean heroes can't be happy. There comes a time in every young woman's life, you tell Jade, where she can't leave home because her pet is an overprotective god. Okay, that's obviously not true, but there comes a time in many young women's lives there are circumstances beyond their control, leave them without an escape. Perhaps it's easier to believe that this escape will never come, but you can't let Jade do that. When life has you stuck, at home perhaps, you can still hold on to that hope. You can fight, no matter how long you have to wait, you you keep looking for another chance to visit the world. And if the universe tells you to sit, stay, and roll over, you look in the universe dead in the eyes and ask, who do you think is the master around here? Then you tell the motherfucking heel. Yeah, you're right. Even now I'm still being childish. It's easier to tell myself to be miserable for a noble cause instead of holding on to hope and maybe getting hurt again. But I have to hope. That's who I am. I'm a hoper, not a moper. I'll keep trying to convince Beck that it will be safe for me to leave the islands. Things have changed, and maybe he doesn't realize it yet, and he's kind of a silly dumb dog at times, but he loves me and I love him, and we can work it out. Maybe it'll take a while, but I'll definitely figure things out. And while I wait, you'll come visit me sometimes, won't you? Of course you will. You're not in the habit of abandoning your friends. The idea is unthinkable. Promise Jade that you'll come and visit her. Come visit? Come visit! Your light bulb goes off your head. One of those cool LED bulbs that kind of syncs up to your phone and changes colors and spies on you for the government. Party time! You ask Jade if she's ever had a slumber party. A slumber party? No, I've never had one. It sounds exciting, but it's not really a party if just two people and a dog. That sounds more like a mild slumber hangout. Don't worry about it, you tell her. Just start getting the place ready for a bash. Pull out the sleeping bags and conjure up some lightly irradiated snacks, pump up the fresh jams, etc., etc. I don't even know if we have sleeping bags, but okay, I'll see what I can do. Maybe there's something useful in my grandpa's old supplies. We do our confident salute and then dissolve into the ether of cannon. Alrighty, go up and at 'em, it's party time! John yells and tumbles out of his chair, crashing to the ground in an undignified heap. It looks like he was in the middle of debugging some code on his computer when you interrupted him. He disangles his limbs and stares at you with a groan. Hey, Magic Mailman, we need to get some things straight. Your power is extremely cool, but using them like this is kinda lame. Jump scares rank very low on the prank scale. They don't take any effort and they're just sort of mean and annoying. You apologize for scaring John. You're just very excited mood right now because it's time for a motherfucking slumber party. Oh cool, I've never been to a slumber party before. Who's it with? You grin. Don't you already know who with, John? The American Association of Mermen? Give him a blank stare. Oh right, probably my other friends. That should have been obvious. There you go, John. You tell him to pack up what other supplies he thinks he should bring, then get ready for another whirlwind ride through space-time. I don't know, I should probably do the responsible thing and let my dad know I'm going on a trip, even if I will be back soon. Okay, that's fine, you tell him. But don't take too much time. This route's already getting pretty long. Cool, what should I bring? Ooh, you grab some movies, definitely. Dave will be there, right? I should bring some Montgomery movies so he realizes I was right all along about Matthew's stellar acting. Oh, and of course some snacks. This would be a great time for me to unload all this extra birthday cake my dad made for me. Seriously, there are hundreds of them in the fridge. It's highly ridiculous. We wait patiently in John's room as he goes downstairs to fetch his bounty of cakes, talk to his dad, and do all his other preparations. It takes forever, and you're not really sure what he's doing down there. You think he might be walking around examining all the objects in his home, great deal, and solving a bunch of puzzles? Come on, John. It's not the right genre of game. Get your shit together. Okay, ready. Right, step 2 is get Rose. Take John's hand and zap you to Rose's mansion. John spends a while googling at the giant statue of Zipan the Learned. Then you ascend the staircase towards Rose's room and knock on the door. A voice comes out from within, slightly muffled. You're home early. I've been hearing strange noises from the neighboring lab of late, have you? Rose opens the door and freezes. John? Her eyes widen and she slowly steps backward, which John takes an invitation to stride into her room. Her cheeks darken and she scans the room, eyes flicking from mess to mess. Surprise, Rose! We're here to seal you away like an owl who kidnaps Harry Potter. That's not fair to explain the sudden intrusion. It's normally considered polite to call ahead, especially when one is possessed of reality-bending powers. Well, don't be melodramatic. There's probably nothing too embarrassing in this room. John furrows his brow and glances around the room, eyes sweeping over the walls, and eventually settles on some pictures that have been hung up. Now, look at these great drawings. Did you draw those? This is cool. I didn't know you drew stuff. Rose gives him a smile of a girl whose soul has just shriveled into a blackened husk. Again, explanation would be nice. Explain that you've come to elect Jade's friends for a slumber party. See. This commercial and critical failure of Suburb must have impacted her more strongly than I anticipated. She was really looking forward to playing that game with us. Yeah, that's putting it lightly, probably. I hate to disappoint her further. Into this, my RSVP. Rose gives you a curt nod and turns in front of John, who's bickering under her bed. Something tugs up a corner of her mouth. John? My mother is busy and will not expect to return for a while. Why don't you and our strange friend go analyze her room instead? I need time to pack. Oh, okay, Rose, what did you say? Rose shoves you out of the room with more strength than you expected, that a 13-year-old girl, and shuts the door hard. Man, I hope Rose realizes that I was being serious when I said her drawings are good. We tease each other a lot, but she's really cool. John's speaking loudly enough that Rose can almost certainly hear him from the other side of the door. You think he knows that, but you don't say anything, except to casually suggest that you and John go wait downstairs and admire all the ridiculous wizard art. He agrees. God, this house is so weird. Who needs a giant statue of a wizard? Where did I even get this? Speaking of weird, I didn't want to bring this up with Rose in case it's some funny story I'm not in on, but what's with all the writing on her? But John trails off as Rose descends the stairs with a neatly packed bag. Shall we? We shall, you say. With a hand on each of their shoulders, you close your eyes and concentrate on Schrader's apartment. Aiming for the hallway outside the front door, but this power is still taking some getting used to, so instead you pop into the existence right on top of Dave's bed. And he's flustered. He's tapping away at something on his computer. As soon as you appear, his entire body tenses up. You barely had a moment to react before Dave reels around in his chair and flings a handful of shurikens at you. One of them grazes Rose's cheek so closely a strand of pale hair flutters to the ground. She turns to look at the weapon, now embedded in the wall, and runs a finger along the edge of the blade, squinting. Oh, Jesus shit. What the fuck, man? Surprise! Okay, rule 1 of time travel and dimension hopping. Don't fucking pull this kind of shit. I mean, seriously, under any other circumstance, I'd be shitting my fucking nuts off about the opportunity to chill with my best bro. Dude, you can't just drop a guy's bestie into the middle of his room out of nowhere like this. This is an extreme of social faux pas. You gotta give some guy time to prepare. Be melodramatic, Dave. I assure you, there's nothing present in this room that could make us think lesser. Rose is scared by that near-death experience just now. She doesn't show it. She hops off the bed and glances around. If you left any pornography out, it'll only serve to confirm the hypothesis I've already made. Dude, are these selfies? Are you doing the duck face in this one? Man. Oh, for fuck's sake, John. You got all like VIP access, backstage pass, and the first thing you do is insult my stuff. Like some rowdy tool at the Nickelback concert, rummaging through their closets instead of doing the musical world a favor and assassinating them. Well, yeah. You would do the same, dude. Touché. But anyways, aside from the fact of getting your grubby hands all over my pristine collection of cool swords, what the hell are you doing here? We're having a slumber party. Are you in? Oh. Bro is basically always keeping tabs on me. Guy wants me to be safe, you know? Or rather, wants me to be in the right kind of danger to teach me lessons about irony of being dope-ass fucking ninja master. It's all some pretty intensive supervision to the point being made here, bro. Was already getting some rank vibes from him after that little jaunt over to Olive Garden. Actually, the vibes have been off ever since John's birthday, if I'm being honest. So I don't know how Head felt about me gallivanting off on some magic snooze adventure with Slappy the time-traveling mailman. Seems like the kind of thing he'd issue with. Oh, come on, it can't be that bad. What kind of guy wouldn't let his brother go hang out with his friends? I guess. Pretty shitty kind of guy if he did that. Dave stares off in the middle of the distance for a while. Elves absorbs him intently. Look, Dave, I don't think it'd be alright if we had a big party and weren't there. Jade would really miss you. As would we. Yeah. Dave glances furtively around the room as he's expecting a Alright, let me just grab some subs. That's supplies for sure. Hey man, what's Jade's hell dog like? Do I need to bring one of those cool ash swords? Whoa! These swords are like $5 Chinatown swords, aren't they? What? No! Okay, listen. While Dave grabs his stuff and John heckles him affectionately, Rose's attention has been drawn back to the shuriken Dave threw at her. You shuffle over and ask her what's up. She responds with her own question. Have you been introduced to Dave's brother? Not yet. I heard a lot about him, though. For the sake of diplomacy, we only briefly touched on it, the opinion you're formed. He certainly seems like a fascinating man, the kind of individual whose brain I would love to pick apart, to find out just what twisted mechanics. So, that's what she's thinking about Dave's bro? Rose chews at her bottom lip. Not exactly, but an adjacent topic. Mulling over the ethical quandaries presented by the existence of power as topic? What? It's nothing to concern yourself with yet. We have a party to attend to, apparently. Great! Dave is packing up. You open both palms and suggest that everyone holds off hands so you best can channel your power. Really? We're holding hands? God, this is so lame. But he does it and clasps John and Rose's hands. He shifts around and blushes faintly in a manner that suggests he doesn't really think that it's so lame. In fact, he may think it's the opposite of lame. He may think it's rad. And you be alright. Friendship is the raddest thing of them all. You teleport. You're full of warm and fuzzy friend feelings as you teleport back to Jade's atrium. Wait, no, that's just the feeling of your body dissolving into reconstructing itself halfway across canon. They are very similar feelings. You head to the base of the staircase, where you call out to Jade. Guests have arrived, you tell her. Jade rushes down the stairs and nearly trips over her skirt. Her expression is tight and anxious. When she sees your Monte Clue standing there, she freezes up. Her breath hitches in a half sob. I really did bring them. They're here. All here. Jade breaks into a wide grin and sprints forward, launching herself into a missile at her friends. Dave throws himself bodily out of the way, and Rose takes an armed step back, leaving John to bear the full brunt of her affections. She crashes into them, and the two of them go spinning around as Jade laughs breathily. Whoa, calm there, down there, Jade. It's nice to see you too. Tears are beating to her eyes, and she squeezes them tight, pecks her cheeks with a small kiss. Oh, John, I'm so happy to see you in person. And walking person and everything. I've spent so much time watching you sleep. What? Jade swings around to look at the other two pals. Come on, you two. Get over here. We're having a 4-time hug combo right now. And Dave is embarrassed. Rose and Dave cautiously step forward, and Jade, with John's help, yank them both into a tight embrace. She smooshes them on the cheeks, too. Rose's face lights up with a blush, and Dave's face goes catatonic. When Jade pulls back, she's clutching John's hands and tugging them so hard she might pull the damn thing off. Come on, everyone, let's go upstairs. I found a bunch of military-grade sleeping bags and Grandpa's old adventuring gear. Sent them up in my room. We can play all night with my toys and jam out to some music and stay up all night chatting with each other. And oh my god, you're here and you're all like, this is really happening? Jade's next laugh verges on hysterical, and she's got little tears streaking down her cheeks. Dave looks a little perturbed. Oh, holy shit, it's cool, Jade, no need to get so like this. Kinda fucks me up seeing you cry. Not that I'm trying to make this all about me, I mean, Dave, you're doing a horrible job of comforting her. Jade, come here, I shall hold you in my arms. Rose walks over to Jade, extends her thumbs, and swipes down Jade's teary cheeks in a stiff mechanical motion. Then wraps her arms around Jade in an embrace that generously could be called a hug, but looks like a precursor to an alien medical examination. John boggles at It's so funny because John is the only one used to affection. John boggles on the display. None of you whack jags know how to do this. Oh my god. Come here, Jade. Oh, thank you, John. Now come here, everyone. Let's go. And the party begins. Tales told, movies watched, and fun had aplenty. So many shenanigans happened, so many. Perhaps someday you will count them all in detail. But before you know it, the energy in the room has fled alongside the sunlight. The moon has stars cast in the pale gaze upon the floor. Two kind friends, bundled up in sleeping bags and caught midway between slumber and wakefulness. Dave is rambling about some inane bullshit that nobody's paying attention to, or was it attempting, quite terribly, to lecture John and Jade on the modern reinterpretation of Lovecraft's works. Do you think it's about time you bowed out? It's not that you haven't enjoyed chumming it up with these kids, but you feel kind of weird sticking around overnight. You can come back later. Besides, you got places to go and sights to see. There's an entire golden moon out there, and full of potential friends that you know nothing about before today. The universe beckons. You are powerless to refuse. You give Bick a little nod, like, hey, take care of these kids. Beck doesn't nod back as his dog, but you like to think he understands. As you quietly slip down the staircase and out of the sight, you spare one last glance at the group and find a sigh escaping your lips. Everything that's happened here feels almost too good to be true. Can't this abrasion wish fulfillment go unpunished? You find that it's hard to imagine. There's something fate touched about these kids. You can feel it in your bones. As surely as the wind whispers through the trees, or the stars dance through space, as surely as the turning clocks will call the sunlight back again, these kids will never be free of the bullshit that hounds them. But right here, right now, they are at peace. They have shared one perfect moment together, and perhaps in the future there will become a more betwixt the chaos, and maybe that's enough. Aww. Oh look, okay. Dave is a tiger boy. Jane is a dog. Obviously John is getting his nail paintings by Rose. He's a little flustered about it. That's adorable. And we still have one option left of... Oh well, kind of a huge jerk, aren't you? Or maybe the narrative is huge jerk. Is that what you say? But now you're practically in charge of the narrative, so it's basically just you. But Jane seems happy enough with a lot in her life. Maybe she's better off this way, instead of whatever danger she would have gotten caught up in if she played Shaboob. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. But the important heroic ends. And with that, we're going to end this episode here at Pesterquest. I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path, forever it might lead you into the future. Bye, everybody.